Welcome to our Friday night question and answer program. Please go ahead with your call.
The book of Acts, chapter 1, verse 11.
Acts 1, verse 11 says, "Which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? The same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven."
What does that mean spiritually?
Well, if we go back to verse 9, it says, "And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight." So Christ went up in a cloud, and the Bible speaks of his coming at the time of the end in a cloud. And so here we are at the time of the end of the world. And as it says in Matthew 24, verse 30, "And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven." And the sign refers back to the previous verse of the sun being darkened and the moon and so forth. And that's the sign of the appearance of the Son of Man. That is, it's the sign of his coming. As the disciples asked him at the beginning of the chapter, "What shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?" And so the sign of his coming occurs immediately after the tribulation, which is the spiritual darkening of the sun, moon, and stars, the shutting of the door of heaven, and the putting out of the light of the gospel, is a huge indicator to the reader, the child of God who reads the Bible, that Christ is coming in judgment. He is coming in the clouds, as it goes on to say, "And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." They saw him go up in the cloud. We today are seeing through eyes of faith him coming in a cloud. And so that's the first thing that would be in view in Acts chapter 1. But also, I think it relates to the original timetable for Christ's first coming, which, when laid out, it appears, matches perfectly with his second coming. That is, the Bible foretold that the Messiah would come the first time after 11,000 years of history. The year 13 BC was the 11,000th year of Earth's history. And yet Christ did not come in 13 BC. But that began a 2,300-day period that led into 7 BC, or takes you from 13 BC to 7 BC, and then Christ came. And so he fulfilled the scriptures that indicated he would come after 11,000 years with that addition of a 2,300-day period. And then from 7 BC until 33 AD, when he completed all the work that the Father had sent him to do. And Acts chapter 1 is pointing to the completion of the 1,335 days of his ministry and his whole time on earth when he's finally taken up. And then a few days later will be the day of Pentecost and the pouring out of the Holy Spirit, all occurring in 33 AD, 40 calendar years from 7 BC, 39 actual years. And so too, in our time of the end of the world, there's no question and zero doubt that we are living at the time of the end of the world, because it's not possible that the multiplication, the great iniquity that is all over the face of the earth, could be found in any other time period other than the time of the end of the world. So there's no question whatsoever that the church's apostate condition, which is total, 100% of the world's churches, that condition could be found other than at the time of the end of the world. And the Bible also indicates, just as it did, it foretold the Messiah comes the first time after 11,000 years. The Messiah returns the second time after 13,000 years. Only, again, the year 1988, Christ was not seen, but at that point, God began the judgment on the churches and ended the church age, the first outpouring of the Holy Spirit that had begun way back in 33 AD. And after 2,300 evening mornings in September 1994, God stretched forth his hand a second time to recover the remnant of his people, another Jubilee year, and another work of salvation, only this time outside of the churches and congregations. And then that goes, if we follow the same pattern, and Acts 1 is indicating that he will come in like manner. What did it say there? The same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner. And so if he follows the same pattern from 7 BC to 33 AD, the similar pattern 2,000 years later would be 1994 to 2033 AD. And so the parallels are very clear. There is only 2,000 years separating the first coming of Christ and what could very well be the second coming of Christ and the end of the world.